I've got a question that I forgot to ask you last time.
Oh. Is it a doozy one?
No. About your recent radio interview on steroids.
Oh, yeah. The Ben Fordham show?
Yes.
Yes. What don't you know about it?
What was the reaction?
It was all pretty positive. Even a lot of people thought when I was going to go on being Ben Fordham, he might have, attacked me more and stuff. But it was mainly about the actual steroids. It was more about, when the hit thing was going on, people going around hitting people. They were saying those young kids taking steroids, and that was the cause of it. But really, I was just saying how steroids have been there for a long time in all sports. All sports use them and that. But people have been hitting one another for years and years. It's all alcohol related, and just young kids pretty much just being disrespectful assholes. Don't take steroids. So when we got into it, when I got into talking about the steroid use in other sports and this and that and other stuff, he was like, oh, he didn't know that and this sort of thing. So I sort of educated him a bit, but then other people who I bumped into who heard it, and then I was also in the Sunday Telegraph about it as well. A lot of people that read that said they liked the article, and even one of the guys from 60 Minutes, they mentioned it because on the Today Show on the weekend, when it came out, they always have what's making news, and they showed the paper article, and he even agreed that it wasn't really the steroid issue, it was more young kids and alcohol, and all this alcohol and drug related violence was causing it. Okay, when they might test someone, okay, he might be taken or drunk as a pig and ecstasy or all these other type drugs, but he might be taking steroids too, but it wasn't steroids that the cause of the whole thing. So they're trying to, I think maybe alcohol companies are trying to steer it that way so they can still look squeaky clean. But alcohol violence has been going on since day dot, so it's always going to go on. And young kids these days seem to be getting worse and worse with alcohol and drinking more and more early ages, getting dry and blind drunk. And I'd hear in the gym, young kids just go out to get drunk and look for fights these days. So they get that, what do they call it, something courage, when they drink a lot. So that's a sad thing. But now they try and point at, steroids. I think last year it was ice, wasn't it? They had a big thing about ice-fueled violence, and young kids taking all the ice was causing a lot of violence. But this year it was steroids. So so it was all pretty positive. I think Barry O'Farrell, wasn't it? When I mentioned it, I think it was in the paper, he had to come back saying that Lee Priest was on another planet, but that's Barry O'Farrell, who just retired for lying and taking the bribes and taking the bottle of wine that he forgot about, which was $3,000. So I think he's on another planet. So out of touch. But really, I don't think there's any. I think one guy called in. Most people that called in the radio, I think 5 people called in. They always change the subjects, but say 5 called in, I think only 1 was negative. He was like, well, I've been in sports this long and you don't need steroids and this and that, and I've played top of the line sports. I think we're talking about professional sports here, where the guys that are pros, sure, top amateurs can do without steroids and stuff, but we're talking about the pro level where there's millions or hundreds of thousands of dollars involved. They're going to use them, and they do. So there's probably only 1 negative one, but the rest are all positive, agreeing with what I said. So there wasn't any backlash. The only thing was, I think when I took the photo for the paper, they wanted a photo of me using a dumbbell, but Fitness First didn't want me to take the photo in the gym because they didn't want it related to steroids, which, I don't know, but the Fitness First name wasn't going to be used. I only wanted to use a dumbbell. That's why the picture of me standing there was taken in the park outside the gym. So, but it's not like anyone who goes to any of the gyms, Anytime Fitness, Fitness First, or any of those gyms are on gear now.
No, all natural.
Yeah.
I was sort of shocked by, I guess, Ben Fordham after the interview saying, oh, geez, like, I can't believe he's admitted to taking steroids, and basically...
Like he said to me too, through the interview, he's like, Lee, what you're admitting to is illegal. I said, yes, I know it's illegal, but I said, the people who are probably listening to this interview in their cars right now, they're probably going down the freeway where it says 110, they're doing 130, 140. That's illegal too. We all do illegal things. Sometimes you get caught, sometimes you don't, but the sport I'm in, yes, steroids are illegal. Yes, they say they test for them, but they don't really test. It's like other sports where they say they're illegal, you can't use them. Most professional sports know when testing is going to happen. Most people know how to beat tests, so, and then you see the surprise and shock that it goes on. But if he's a sports reporter, I'm a guy who, I've known football players who use them, but I'm not into football at all. I don't think they follow it. I know them, so if you're an actual sports reporter and you're in that type of know-how, you know what goes on. It's just that a lot of people like to live in denial and say, I never heard of that, or how many people knew about half these sports stars that use cocaine or recreational drugs. We all know about it, you hear it goes on. Yet the people on the inside, I didn't know that. I'm shocked. It's like, come on, it's like so stupid. Just be honest, but you know, so yeah, but you know, so you're saying it's illegal, which it is. But I said there's so many things we do each day are illegal, but people still do it. So that's one of those things. But I said, if I said, even back when I was 19, 18, I knew of football players using it back then and buying it, so, and I wasn't even into sport. So people who are into sport can't, you know, I guess when shit hits the fan, they want to bury their heads in the sand and play dumb. That way they're not held accountable, I guess, so they can act like we didn't know about it. Because some of these coaches are like, well, I didn't know my players were doing that. If all the players know and you're in the locker rooms, you know what's going on. If you're the head coach, trust me, you know what's going on. As everyone else knows, you'd hear of it, they'd speak of it. Hell, most coaches, I used to know coaches from school teams that would try to get the young kids on it so they could be better players and move up through the ranks into first grade. So, you know, those coaches that would push young kids in the teen years to get on steroids. So, have all this denial stuff is just total bullshit. So, I guess denial these days is, you know, apart from being a big river in Egypt, they can still just say that they know about it. Well, as the politicians say, I don't recall. They don't actually say, you know, I just don't recall that. That's the new one, so you're not saying you don't know or whatever. I just don't recall.